Welcome to Cyprus Diaspora Uncovered. In this episode of Cyprus Diaspora Uncovered, Marina Zevedou, CEO of the Aspen Trust Group, moderates an insightful panel discussion on strengthening Cyprus-India partnerships in business and creativity, recorded at the Cyprus Diaspora Forum 2026 on May 8th at the AMARA Hotel in Limassol. The session explores the growing Cyprus-India corridor, examining how technology, talent and investment are strengthening economic ties between Cyprus's financial ecosystem and India's dynamic technology sector. The discussion also highlights exciting opportunities to expand creative and commercial collaboration, with a focus on film, technology, innovation and trade, demonstrating how stronger partnerships can drive mutual growth and create new opportunities for both countries.
And welcome. I am Marina Zevedou, and I am the President of Women's India Chamber of Commerce in Cyprus and the CEO of the Aspen Trust Group. And I'm very pleased to be the moderator of this very distinguished panel today. We have an excellent panel and of distinguished speakers who bring diverse perspectives on policy, trade, technology, and real-world business experience. And let me briefly introduce these distinguished panelists to you. His Excellency, the High Commissioner of India, Mr. Manish, Mr. Stavros Stavroulou, the President of Chamber of Commerce of Cyprus, Mr. Dimitris Kouridis, the Chief Scientist of Cyprus, Mr. Sunil Kapoor, who is a partner and the COO of OL Shipping Group, and Mrs. Serene Mary Tharian, the owner of Calicut Designs Limited. It's a pleasure to have you all with us as we explore the growing relationship between India and Cyprus, particularly in business, innovation, and investment. A little bit about myself. I have more than 2 decades of experience in business and investments in and out of India. And I am actively promoting and growing the relationship of India by promoting the Cyprus incentives in the film industry, but also the IP regime for the high-tech sector in India. Let us start with His Excellency, Mr. Manish, to set the stage and share with us the macro picture. Your Excellency, you've been closely involved in strengthening the Cyprus-India relationships. Please outline the efforts of High Commission of India in bringing India and Indian diaspora closer to Cyprus in terms of business, education, and technology. And also, how does the High Commission of India support Indian companies entering into the Cyprus market and vice versa?
Thank you, Marina, for having me in your panel, and it is a real privilege to be part of conversation around Cyprus Diaspora Forum. We are also a big, large diaspora country. 35 million of Indians live and work abroad. So talking about what you asked me, I've been in one week time, I will complete 2 years in Cyprus. So the last 2 years has been very intense and productive in India-Cyprus bilateral relations. And this can be gauged from the fact, let me give some anecdotal example. Prime Minister of India came last year in June. Your president is going to travel to India on a state visit within 11 months of my prime minister coming. Last year, for the first time after 30 years, the president of the House of Representatives of Cyprus went to India. Your foreign minister traveled to India after 14 years. So we are in the business of connecting nations and countries. And I'm very happy that things are moving very forward. Historically, we have been very close, more than 2,000-3,000 years. So during your struggle to independence and our struggle to independence, we were friends. These are all very feel-good factors, but we try to bring contemporary relevance to our relationship. And in that context, these 3 pillars which this panel is discussing, economic, business, education, technology is of very, very high importance. And I'm happy to say that we have achieved quite a lot in last 2 years, at least since I'm here. And thanks to stakeholders, 3 of them in fact are in this panel, the chamber, Women Chamber or Cyprus India Business Association, the president of the chamber, the chief scientist. So we have worked very closely, and I must say that Cyprus has started looking east of its country. So my one ask to the Cypriots were that, okay, good, you are always looking, you are part of you and all, but you have to look to the biggest market, and things are happening very much. And we have been doing successfully business outreach. Both Cypriot companies and my companies are doing it. Trade is 140 million, trade in goods. The one fact which I think a lot of Cypriot don't know, that we value Cyprus because we get a lot of foreign direct investment out of Cyprus to India. And within Europe, Cyprus is the second country after Netherlands. Cyprus is currently 9th in the outward FDI, which from where India gets its FDI. So cumulatively, $16 billion have come from Cyprus, USD, in last 25 years. Trade is 140 million, but there are other values to it. Education is one, because in Cypriot educational institutions, there are about 5,000 Indian international students. Indian businesses are looking to headquarter here to explore the opportunities which has come up because of India-EU FTA conclusion. More and more companies are looking into headquartering or expanding to European Union and other parts. And the education, lot of students are coming here are in the private colleges, but we have serious postdoc researchers also in University of Cyprus or the technology or other center of excellence here. So educational route is also bringing a lot of value to Cyprus, because they are bringing a lot of revenue to your country in terms of fees to the colleges, as also they are part of your workforce, because I think more and more Cypriots are now getting used to food deliveries. So I think you are now hooked up to that. So this is another value. So Indian community, wherever they live, bring value to that country. And we have about 15,000 Indians here. And non-EU workers are being brought into your country because you don't have the advantage of, working people. Everybody in Europe is aging. India has that demographic dividend. We have 650 million people who are less than 35 years of age. Whether you like it or not, you will have only Indians working for you in coming decades, because certain sectors you don't want to do work. So that's the reason more and more non-EU workers are coming. But we are across all value chains. You see this guy, he's also a shipping professional, Indian origin Cypriot now. So there are many tech workers, professionals, and all. So we are present in your society across all value chains. And so that brings to other pillar, because normally any diplomacy or any relations, I am representing India's interest in this country. So we normally, to simplify, 5 pillars are important for any diplomacy or relationship: political, defense and security, economic engagement, people to people, global issues. So under people to people, this thing, cluster diaspora engagement is very important. Mm-hmm. And we have a very mature policy how to engage diaspora. And this is premised on 4 C's, which I think is relevant for this diaspora engagement which Cyprus is doing. First C is care for the diaspora. First C is care. How do we care? In this situation, some crisis happens, you evacuate, you repatriate, or this. Second C is connect. You connect with your diaspora by celebrating with them, doing some things like we do. We started doing Flavors of India. We started doing Namaste Cyprus, promoting your culture and values and bringing to Cypriots in that way. Third C is connect. How do you connect? We have a biennial diaspora event in India. Next year we'll have another one. So there is everybody is invited. We also recognize people. And fourth is the most important, which diaspora has to give back to their motherland, contribute to your country of your origin. This is the main. If I'm doing 3 things, it is my expectation that you will also bring back that value to my country by contributing back to your motherland. So basically, in a nutshell, what I say to my diaspora, you are very fortunate to have two mothers. One is the mother where you have been born, and one is the adopted home. So, in your real life, one is in Hindi, if I may use, Janam Bhumi, the place of your birth, Karam Bhumi, the place of your work. So that is how the diaspora is bringing value to all of us. And connecting business is important part of our work. We have a small, very robust professional team in my High Commission. Me, my colleague is here, Subhas, First Secretary Economic. So we are hands-on guys. We reply to the trade queries from India. We connect Indian companies to Cyprus and Cypriot company to India. If there are any issues, we do advocacy, handhold them, lobby for them, open markets for them, and things like that. So all across the value chain, we help businesses to come to grow. And happy that there are substantial progress happening. We have in coming months, you will see announcements of Indian education sector company coming here, wellness company coming here, food and beverages company coming here. So there are many things in pipeline. Similarly, Eurobank is going to open an office in India. Bank of Cyprus is in the line. Alpha Bank is in the line. All the big four or equivalent of big four are now making a queue to India, because India is the country where you can grow. That is no brainer. It is not why India, it is how India. And that is what Chief Scientist Dimitris, he must have traveled in the last 2 years, 4 or 5 times to India. Stavros is a chamber president, also a businessman. He has business connections with India. His all softwares are developed in India. He is Indian. He brings value by bringing heritage and culture and creative economy. So I'll stop here and maybe I'll.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. That was very helpful, and your overview gives a real insight on what is happening in growing this business relationship. Building on that, partnerships on the ground are very, very crucial. So I'll go to the President of the Chamber of Commerce of Cyprus, and I will ask your perspective as to how can the Cyprus-India relationship function as a practical driver of growth and internationalization for businesses on both sides, and why is Cyprus well positioned as a gateway to Europe for Indian companies, especially in the context of the recent EU-India FTA negotiations? That's the first question that I would like you to answer, and then I'll go to the second one.
Thank you, Marina. First of all, I want to start from saying that we're lucky enough that we're not starting now. It's something that has already started, and we are continuing building upon it and driving it forward, perfecting it. As His Excellency said, we have already 16 billion, you mentioned, FDIs from Cyprus to India. They have 35 million diaspora. His Excellency mentioned we have 35 million to India's population, maybe a small percentage. We have 680,000 diaspora, which is almost equal to the population here on the island. So everybody has a lot to offer, but let me begin. We have so many things in common, which was, I will use another word His Excellency said, is a no-brainer that with so many things in common that we wouldn't try and build upon and cultivate even further. We started off years and years ago from Commonwealth. We are members of the Commonwealth. We fought together next to each other during the wars when we were called in by the Commonwealth. Culture, family culture, and all that is all very similar. So in all these contribute. I will also go back and use, if I may, a research done by my friend Subhash over there, where he says even on the language side, we have something in common. We're talking together in another event on space, the ASTIMAN, not space, but the space out there. And apparently that word has common roots in both languages. In Greek, ancient Greek, it's chaos, which is more or less similar to the Indian. So
the second question I would ask, and I'm sure you're going to enlighten us a little bit, is what role does the Cyprus Chamber of Commerce and Industry play in turning Cyprus-India cooperation into concrete partnerships? And which sectors are you dealing with at the moment?
We have been working with the embassy a long time now, promoting both sides of the equation, India and Cyprus, to both sides. I want to thank the embassy, to thank the High Commissioner, because he's been doing an excellent job, working very hard with us in promoting that. We have prepared with a great success the visit of the Prime Minister of India here on the island. And through that, we have done a lot of contacts, and we brought a lot of people together. We have been working before that also through the chamber, through B2B meetings, not face-to-face, but through the videos and Skype and all that, promoting businesses. I personally myself visit India at least 3 times a year, and I have been doing so. With the help of the ambassador, we've been promoting what can be done in both sides. Now, the chamber, you have to understand, we're just facilitators of getting people together. Once we manage to get the people together, then they know themselves and they are the experts to see what sort of synergies can find out amongst themselves, what sort of partnerships and other investments they can do together. And this has been working very well. Now we are preparing very diligently another trip to India with the president, and we spend a lot of time from both sides preparing this. We have put a lot of B2B meetings together for those who are interested to go, and I must admit we have a record number of companies that will go over there.
50, 60 companies.
68 people, 52 companies.
Wow.
And we have a lot more from the Indian side coming to us, and we have arranged through a specialized company over there in India, B2B meetings for everybody. We have done that very, very professionally, because they already talked amongst themselves on the phone, preparing the ground for the face-to-face meetings. So these are all we're doing. Okay. But let's not forget, we have also the legal framework, the tax framework, the agreements between the governments are working very well, which encourages this two-way traffic, because for anything to be successful, it has to be a two-way. There has to be some gain from both sides in order to that. The ambassador said there are 15,000 Indians here, and whether you like it or not, he said, you will have the Indians working for you for a long time to come. No, we don't. We like it. But one thing we don't like is we don't want the Indians working for us. We want the Indians working with us, and we want the Cypriots working for the Indians too. We want Indian companies to come here in Cyprus, use Cyprus, establish themselves here, and we will have Cypriots working for the Indians too. And then from here, we can go to Europe as a gateway to Europe, to Africa, and expand here together. We want Indians to come here with their expertise and knowledge that we don't have, the same way as we will go to India and use that expertise and knowledge in India, where we can make partnerships together. We can bring people on long-term associations, partnerships together. We're not looking for opportunistic trade. We're looking for long-term relationships that we will keep the people together, that they will make them together, they will bond together. Because let me tell you one thing, we have diplomats here, we have politicians all over the place, but if the people come together and entrepreneurship managed to do that over the centuries, bring people together, bond them together, then believe me, the politicians had no other choice but to follow. And this is exactly what we want to do. Bond the people together through businesses, through long-term relationship, not opportunistic trades. And then, believe me, the politicians will follow along and make it work even better.
Work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stavro. That was very, very well said. I couldn't agree more, as I think the Cyprus society is ready to work together with the Indian society. We share so many similar values that I believe we learn from each other, and we have the keenness to cooperate with each other. So thank you for this. And now we're going to the Chief Scientist of Cyprus, Dimitris Skouridis. How is Cyprus positioning itself as a hub for AI and high-tech companies, Dimitris, particularly those from India? And also, what other exciting factors are we exploring with India at the moment as Cyprus?
So first of all, thank you very much for hosting this panel, and I think it's a pleasure being, amongst here. I think all of the distinguished speakers and His Excellency, the High Commissioner. Before I go to how Cyprus is positioning itself, let me actually just pick on something that I think Chairman Stavro has just shared, that we want, to work with Indians, and we want to actually work where Cypriot citizens can actually also have opportunities to work with some of the, let's say, the leading Indian companies. Let me just share that my first degree was computer science, and most of the people in my class were from India. And they are undoubtedly some of the smartest, most hard-working people that you see, right? And when you step back and you really look at where India is together today, you will see number 5 space nation in the world, number 1 in terms of capacity, for example, for artificial intelligence, massive investments into basically modernizing, I think, the digital infrastructure they have, and I think there are many elements that any country in the world would want to partner with a country like India, because the lessons that one can learn are many, right? I mean, we look at sometimes some of the challenges we have in our world in smaller countries where we try to build projects. We build them in silos, and then we spend, the next 10 years of our lives trying to connect them all together. And then all of a sudden you have a nation that has managed to create digital infrastructure and a backbone that brings together 1.5 billion people more. And it does that in a way that it works, right? And I think, so this brings and paves, I think, the segue to the next part where I wanted to go. As Cyprus, part of our agenda on the research and the innovation and the technology side is to develop those partnerships with countries that are either more research advanced than us, or they're more technologically advanced than us. And I think India is definitely one in both of these areas, right? And in each, there are areas where we can learn, where it's space, whether it's, for example, in the energy and the policy mix that, they've managed to build, whether, I think super big, let's say, storage capabilities on battery, whether it's the environment, whether it's, for example, maritime, whether it's, security and defense, whether it's, healthcare in some areas. And I don't see Mr. Zamboglou here amongst us here, but just a few months ago in September 2025, while I was in India, we had the opportunity to visit the Tata Memorial Hospital with Mr. Zamboglou to actually see how we could cooperate, right, and really looking at some areas of cancer. And the answer and the reason we did that was twofold. Number one is you hear of all of these, great hospitals in the world and the centers that are really treating cancer, but India has the counterparts. When you look at the Tata Memorial Hospital, right, one of the leading institutions in the world that has, that expertise. And the other part that is important for us to also understand is that we in Cyprus, this was actually very surprising when we were sitting at the Tata Memorial Hospital, because we realized that the amount of cases of cancer that the German medical hospital here on the oncology center sees in a year are seen in a month at the Tata Memorial Hospital. So the scale and the capability, right, that we can unlock or unleash if we can really
Experience.
cooperate together and come back and see how we can facilitate what I call these data spaces to be able to share, right, the basic data that we can then do the inferencing and learning is immense. So now going back to, I think, the key parts of the conversation and the question you've asked. So Europe has a priority of building digital sovereignty, right? In India, having the challenges that they had to build upon, they actually used a concept in artificial intelligence. We call it the single shot model or the specialized model. Not everybody needs an LLM like ChatGPT and OpenAI and Gemini. But if you want to go very special in a very specialized manner, being able to create what we call the sovereign models is an example. In India, the actual infrastructure that they're building is actually facilitating infrastructure that's open, single shot model or specialized model that makes 1 + 1, more than 1, more than 2, it's actually 4 for them. And these are elements where we want to learn. The other area is on the space side. The other area is on the healthcare side. The other area is on the defense tech side, right? Because some nations have had the opportunity to design thinking outside the box. And when you don't have access to all of the technologies and you actually go through an engineering cycle when you actually design outside the box, you build often technologies, products, solutions, and platforms that are more advanced, that are lower cost to maintain, that actually provide and build other opportunities. So for us, I think on the research side, we have tremendous capability on the energy and the environment. We have a tremendous capability when it comes to space and security. We have a tremendous capability in working around on the AI space. And on the AI space, we're talking about cybersecurity, cyber defense systems. We are talking about quantum, which eventually will be quantum AI. But India is very advanced, one of the most advanced nations when you look at in general in the world with quantum. So that opportunity, right, which is, I think, pairing ahead, the capability of bringing and bridging, I think, healthcare with the pharma tech industry and really seeing how we can really create those synergies is another area. So for our cooperation on the research side, I think that this partnership is a partnership that can actually bring value to both sides, unlocking the EU horizon, let's say, opportunities with the research, where we are also strong. I mean, there are some areas where we are stronger, and that creates, I think, that complementary value. Because when you have a partnership, you really need to focus on creating value and capturing value
For both.
in a word that I think Chairman Stavros said, together, right?
Yeah,
and I think that
both.
creates tremendous value.
Thank you so much, Dimitris. That was very insightful, and it gives a perspective on the depth of cooperation, especially in these areas that are all new to us in Cyprus, but newer than in India. Thank you. Thank you. And now let's turn to Mr. Sunil Kapoor. It's always very valuable to hear what's happening on the ground from the first-hand experience. So, Mr. Kapoor, you've been in Cyprus both professionally and personally for a lot of years now. You will share with us how many years. And from your experience in the global shipping and cross-regional business, where do you see the most practical opportunities for Cyprus-India collaboration, especially in shipping, trade, and investment? And also, what are the key challenges in turning business relationships into real partnerships? What could a successful Cyprus-India partnership looks like in the years to come?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Marina, for inviting us and being part of this panel. So I would like to keep it very simple. 3 pillars I'm using: ships, structure, and systems. And I say that my part of journey connects all these things with dots. So I'm an Indian, studied as a marine engineer, and I built up my career in Hong Kong. I was there for almost 11, 12 years when I got a chance to come to Cyprus. And when I came to Cyprus, I did not even know. And this was my first trip to Cyprus. So I came here, set up my own company. By mistake, I took a right turn. Instead of going to Limassol, I landed in Nicosia. And they said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm setting up a ship management company." So they were all laughing. What the hell are you doing? But I tell you, from my own practical experience, and I'm in business, which is people's business. So you require people to run the office, and then there are no shipping people in Nicosia. So the first thing I did was to go to the university and try to get the graduates, and then we started training them, and who became the pillars who supported us, and also they made our company successful. So coming back to the two gentlemen who have been talking here, I felt, yes, the time is there, and if there is an intent, we can work together to make something very successful. It's not that many things have happened since my time, but there is a way Indian businesses or foreign businesses can be run in spite of all the problems we have, which we can discuss later stage. But if people want to make a successful business, that can be done. So both countries, India and Cyprus, they are maritime hub. India is such a vast, huge coastline. Cyprus is also. Both are very dynamic in maritime. But here is where we need to bring the synergies together. We have been doing business mostly in Europe or other part of the world, not with India. So here is where I would feel that ship owning, ship management, ship-related items, investments, that is one thing which comes very easy in my mind, which can be done easily. Second, India is a powerhouse with people. Crewing is, everybody in the world is struggling. I am always talking about no crew, no crew, no crew. You know, even Cyprus, so many of the ship owners are here talking, but they have looked everywhere except for India, especially after the Ukraine-Russia war. I think India is the best place to bring people from there to man their ships. And once you man their ships, then there will be people who will be graduated to come ashore and also to run various shipping operations. Then we come up with the new technology. He's been talking about technology in other sectors, but I now talk about the technology in shipping, because slowly and steadily the AI, because the technology I've seen in shipping, it comes the last. It's not one of the first one. People don't want to try until unless it has been tried out everywhere. Space is number one where the technology goes in. But shipping is now ripe, and here is where AI digitalization, and because this will also help in the decarbonization, which is the main topic everywhere, everybody talks about, is the thing which I feel is required. You may not have you may have only certain experience, but I'm sure when we connect with India, we can get the best of the people and best of the brains, and we can start. And the best part about bringing the technology from India is the cost. The cost of doing the same work from India is maybe 1/4 or 1/8 compared to if we bring the same technology from anywhere else. So I had been talking about bringing digitalization to the simplest of the things like certification of the crew, or a Cyprus shipping chamber digitalization, or maritime Cyprus. Many things we could do. Those are one of the most simplest, and this could be always outsourced to India. That is one thing. Then investments and other things I've talked. What are the problems? Problem is bringing people. I know we say that we have 15,000 people, but we have not been able to bring people with shipping background to Cyprus. And I used to face the same problem. Initially, nobody would want to come to Cyprus to work as a superintendent or in a technical department. They would always like to go to Singapore or Hong Kong or even UK, even though the life would have been much harder. But I used to handle those people whom I used to bring with care. 6 months to 1 year when they are here, then they don't want to go. So that is the first step I realize is the biggest challenge. If you have to run ships, you can train people, but you still require technical people. The second thing, we only talk. A lot of MOUs have been signed, a lot of things are happening on the paper. We have not been able to put things into motion. And like in shipping, we always say that somebody has to take ownership of the project. And until unless you take the ownership project, you cannot move forward. So that is the second part. Trust factor, yes, there is a lot of trust between Cyprus, India, and I see all my three gentlemen who have been talking. They have managed to break that barrier. There's a lot of intent. There's a lot of discussions. There's a lot of partnerships. Many things are happening. but we have not been able to turn that into ground reality where we can see things are happening. So there is one part which I feel is not happening, which we need to do business. We need to make it successful. We need to publicize those stories that this has been, especially in shipping related, where there is so much of scope, and then we take it. Of course, we always talk about technology and AI and other things. These are the easy hanging fruits, which you can always do. But shipping is where I think important, because for India, I see there is a lot of focus on shipping, and also in Cyprus, because the people who control the ships, who have ships like Greece, is important. They control the market, they control the cargo, they control everything. So
Absolutely.
That's why shipping plays a very important role in the whole economy.
Thank you,
Thank you
Sunil.
very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That was a very honest perspective and very valuable. The timing is right for a lot of things to happen. I think now that the timing is right and there is so much effort from everywhere, maybe we will see quicker results. And now turning to Cyrene, thank you for your patience, Cyrene. From your experience, how has Cyprus been in terms of business environment, culture, and day-to-day life? And what could Cyprus do better to support the Indian entrepreneurs like yourselves?
Thank you for having me here. I'm a dwarf compared to these giants in industry, diplomacy, and commerce. I've been here for 22 years, and 10 years after I came here, I noticed that there was a lack of high quality products manufactured in India and brought here. So 12 years ago, I set up an import-export unit in India, and I import high quality and luxury products from India, which is jewelry, accessories, and clothing. And I've had a boutique in Nicosia for about 12 years. And one of the things that I need to say that Cyprus is a tiny, tiny market, but it actually works well for luxury goods and for luxury spaces because you're basically not chasing volume. You're building relationships and a strong brand identity. This is what gives you. But after a few years of doing that, you've built up a clientele, you've built up a space for yourself and a brand. You need to scale up. So this is the next step. And my company will go forward and go online and become part of the international retail and branded businesses. In the premium space, this market works well. But the only thing that I have to say to people who who would like to go into the fashion and retail businesses as an entrepreneur is to be very clear on positioning from the start. So 12 years ago, when I started the business, right after that, there were many people who would travel to different places, put things in a suitcase, bring it back here, sell it off a table, sell it out of their houses. And you have to decide whether you want a branded position or you want to do an at-home sale to set up and retain a business for longer years. It's not a volume. Cyprus is not a volume market. So you need to have strong identity and think about scalability now earlier, whether you want to go online, scale up. So you need to have a storehouse, and bringing things to the island, of course, is more expensive than to other countries. And also shipping off this island is very expensive. So that's what I have to say about my boutique. Also, I have a dinner club that I run through my house, bringing culture and tradition to Cypriot. So people book and come to my house to have an 8-course South Indian themed meal.
Beautiful.
Which
is amazing.
Yes, I've had Sarah at my house for dinner. And people come in not only to have food, but it's an exchange of culture, and people go away learning a lot about my country, about our traditions, and about my home state, Kerala.
Thank you so much, Cyrene. That is amazing. I can definitely vouch that you're doing a very good job because I hear it from everybody. Cyrene is also part of the Women's India Chamber of Commerce in Cyprus, so we do share a lot of common insights. Thank you all of you for your insights and for sharing your experiences. I think the audience now has got more of a perspective on what we're doing about India and growing this relationship between the two countries. I'd like to open the floor for very, very few questions. If anyone has anything to ask any of the people here.
Thank you to all the panelists. Sunil, let's use you as a question. You use the shipping as an example. What do you think needs to be done to bring the talents from India to Cyprus? Are there any specific regulations needs to be made, incentive, so on and so forth? Thank you.
Oh, very rightful question. And if you say 40% of my time in running the ship management company was to somehow fight to bring the people in, even though we were successful and we wanted to bring people from India, it's not easy. Because the systems which are being used, they keep changing and many people would not know what to follow. This is not a criticism because we discussed this with ministry also. They also realized that there is a problem to bring people in, how to do their visa work, paperwork. Things have not been there, and then there is no proper. So in last couple of years, we actually worked with the ministry, deputy minister, to have a desk which will look after only the shipping related, and then it will be 2-3 hours in a week to make things. But to bring in people to do their visas is a big problem. The second part which comes in every other countries, the spouse who's coming with the husband for their work, they are able to work. In Cyprus, they cannot work. So if there is a lady or a wife who's working in India because there are many women who are working at good positions in India, banking here and there. When they come here, they have to leave their jobs because they realize that they will not get the same job here. So this is also the second. So they would prefer to go to Hong Kong or Singapore where they are able to work.
So just to be clear, because I was involved in some changes when predecessor of Dimitris was in power to changing certain regulations. So now guys that from third country nationals, they're working in IT, their spouses are now allowed to work. Are you saying that for shipping, that's
no, it's the same. Rule is the same. It's not for shipping but still, I know one of my last colleague, which I brought him from in my ship owning company, oil shipping. His wife was not able to work, so we had to do some other work. There are problems. As I said, once initially there are many problems. But one good thing about Cyprus is, if you want to find a way, it can be done. You need to talk. You need to discuss. And a lot of people in the government are very helpful and they take a very reasonable view. And if they can help, they will find a way to do it. But system has to be put in place so that everybody knows what this has to be done and how to bring in instead of, running around and talking. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Let me add to this. What Sunil is saying is the current architecture is more of knee-jerk reaction to the demand of importing skilled manpower. So what we are trying to do with the government here is to have a framework kind of situation where there is a legal and predictable pathway for bringing skilled people to Cyprus. Because as I said in my intervention earlier when I made, everybody is aging in the globe, Europe, Americas, and the dividend is with us. So if you see more and more European countries are also entering into bilateral agreements with India. If I'm correct, factually, about 12 or 13 European Union countries already have a migration and mobility agreement with India. And if you see the EU FTA, there is also a discussion about migration and mobility pathway. So legal and predictable migration with is with a fix on if he has to get a shipping professional. So there has to be certainty that if he's able to bring, he or she will be getting 3-year permit or whatever. So things are happening now, and we hope that this pathway will be created. And so there is a predictability both sides, that people are coming, working, and when the work is over, they are going back. Legal, so there is no overstaying or things like that. So things will happen, I think, very soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Are we allowed for a couple of more questions, or are we? One more. There you are.
Yes, Tommy Gallant. I've had about a 35-year experience in the tech industry. I'm a tech entrepreneur now based in Cyprus. Interested to see what the intentions are of bringing the Indian technology expertise also into Cyprus, having worked a fair bit in India as well, and with the GSIs, Wipro, Infosys, TCS, all of them. There must be intention, I think, with Cyprus's intentions around AI. I have a feeling something might be in the works there, and I'm wondering if that's the case. Probably a question for you, Dimitris.
I guess everybody can hear me.
Yes.
You're spot on. So actually, with the great work and I think the efforts of His Excellency, and I think Subhash, with the Deputy Minister, we were able to facilitate, first of all, the first door and the first step, which was LTI Mindtree. And then, as we speak right now, we are in discussions with some others. I'm actually in discussion with Tech Mahindra. We've had an initial discussion during the Impact AI Summit to see how something can be set up and if that's an interesting area. This is, of course, a longer area, right, and a longer road to move forward. But in general, we already have, besides the GSIs, we have some smaller, let's say, boutique type of companies that are in cybersecurity in specific areas that have already started making the transition, and you'll be hearing more soon. So there are already steps, not just on the system integration part, but also on other areas where specialization is required. And I think the most important part that we also need to understand is that India has not only the institutions and the knowledge, but also the mechanisms that are actually transferring, this type of capabilities. If I step outside the GSI, and I'll just use a recent visit that I had in December when I was invited to talk at the E-Summit in Mumbai. We actually in Europe and in the world, we talk about startups when they fail, right? That most startups fail by law and that 90% of them don't succeed. But then you go through very specialized programs like the SEAL unit that India has at the India Institute in Mumbai, of Technology in Mumbai, where they actually have developed specific programs and accelerators that take the research that stops from TRL level 1, 2, 3, and their job is to make it become a product. And they actually go up to 80% success. So we are looking at both areas, both the area of the technology where we're looking at that AI skill to come forward. Smaller companies are already coming on this side. We've had one on data analytics and data science. We're having another one that's coming on cybersecurity, AI, and sovereign AI. And then there are the conversations with Tech Mahindra, as I said, which is very, very specialized. Of course, India has many of the powerhouses. Either you talk about Wipro, which is one of the very big ones, either you talk about TCS, Tata Consulting, which has a variety of capabilities. So we are looking at them. We're at the stage where we are, having those initial discussions. Hope I answer your question.
Let me add,
We have a couple of minutes.
Yeah, just a quick addition what Dimitri said. Things are happening, and you have to take out the government from all out of it, then things move faster. So B2B, things are progressing. He has already outlined several areas. Defense tech is another area where a lot of work is being done. But G2G is also important. So we are hopeful that there will be a G2G architecture around technology and innovation as an outcome of this visit. Education is another sector. So all in all, things are moving in right direction. Sunil was saying there is all talk and no result, which I disagree with him. There are many results now. Maybe he's talking 2 years before, but last 24 months there is talk, walk the talk. Yeah. So LTI Mindtree is working with Eurobank. LTI Mindtree is working with Hellenic Bank. LTI Mindtree. So there is LTI Mindtree Center of Excellence. The Indians are working in various center of excellence. So things are happening. Of course, we all can do as much as we can. We are all also human beings. So every system, every government, every society has its own bandwidth. We have to be very practical and see what is the convergence of interest. We have to identify it very quickly. As Indians or as India, we cannot do everything in Cyprus. We can't do manufacturing here because you don't have the ecosystem here. So fintech, edtech, technology-related work, things or green energy, things like that can happen. So we have identified the areas where we can do, and we are doing in that. So we have to be practical in that. No country is big or small. Every country can bring value, and Cyprus bring value to me, my country, because we get a lot of money through FDIs from Cyprus. Whether it is Cyprus money or not doesn't matter. It's because your ecosystem is geared to that. And we have legal double taxation avoidance treaty. Cyprus is a category 1 country for foreign portfolio investment into India. And you have this strength in this kind of service sector. Of course, shipping is a very important sector, and I hope that the ship owners of Greece or Cypriots should sit together and consider how to work with India, because India is a huge emerging market in marine sector. Ship building, ship breaking, decarbonization, a lot of training. You should bring an investor here who can train the crews here, and to be deployed to all the ships. So things are there, many things. For example, software related to shipping, things are happening. But
thank you, Mr. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you. We are really pressed of time, and we are very grateful for the questions. I would invite everybody to ask questions to this gentleman and ladies when we finish, but it looks like we have to make a wrap. As we come to the close of this discussion, it is very, very apparent that Cyprus-India relationship holds a very big potential and a very big significance to both nations. And everybody here outlined how this is beneficial from both sides. What we need is a little bit of patience and to be more resilient and persistent in our efforts. And I'm pretty sure, because the timing is correct, things are going to work out very, very quickly. I'm an avid advocate of growing this relationship, and I've been doing it for the last couple of years. So I think this is going to happen. Thank you all. Thank you, panelists, for your insight. Thank you for your questions.
Thank you for listening to Cyprus Diaspora Uncovered. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts for more inspiring conversations that are shaping Cyprus's global future. You can also explore more episodes on our website and selected video interviews on our YouTube channels.